Think about the last time someone disrespected you. Not a stranger, someone you know. The man at work who asked how your weekend was, but asked it with a tone that already decided your weekend was worth nothing. The uncle who said, "How's the job?" at the family table with a smile that meant he had already measured your ceiling and found it low. The friend who told a story about you, not cruel, not false, just angled so that you were the smaller character in it, and watched you laugh along because you did not know what else to do. You felt it, the heat in the chest, the jaw that tightened before the brain caught up, the sentence you composed 3 hours later in the shower, perfect and devastating, delivered to no one. And you told yourself you let it go. You told yourself it did not matter. You told yourself you were above it. You were not above it. You were beneath it. And the man who put you there knew it before you did. Here is what nobody will tell you. Disrespect is not a misunderstanding, is not a bad mood, is not a slip of the tongue. Disrespect is a verdict, and the trial happened without you. The judgment was passed in a fraction of a second, in the way he measured your posture, the way he registered your hesitation, the way he noted that you did not push back. Men test you the way a wolf tests a fence. They press against it. They feel forgive. And if the fence moves even slightly, they know the entire perimeter is weak. Most men are weak fences. They explain themselves. They justify. They argue for respect as if respect were a debate they could win with better words. They do not understand that the man who disrespected them was never confused. He was never mistaken about who they were. He decided, and he acted on the decision. Machiavelli wrote that men are wretched creatures who would not keep their word to you unless forced. Not occasionally, not in extreme circumstances, as a rule, as the default setting of human nature. He did not write this as a complaint. He wrote it as a diagnosis. And a diagnosis is not a grievance. It is the first step toward a cure. Respect is not given to the kind. Respect is not given to the loud. Respect is not given to the loyal. Respect is given to the man who makes disrespect expensive. The man whose silence is heavier than another man's shout. The man whose absence is louder than another man's presence. The man who walks into a room and changes its gravity without opening his mouth. Tonight you are going to learn 8 methods for handling every person who does not respect you. Not motivation, not affirmation, not the comforting lie that you are secretly powerful and the world simply has not noticed yet. These are surgical instruments, built on the philosophy of Machiavelli, sharpened by dark psychology, tested against the worst that human nature has to offer. When someone disrespects you, do this. This is the Machiavelli method, but understand what you are walking into. Most men who watch this will nod through it. They will feel the fire. They will save the video, and then they will walk into the next room and do exactly what they have always done. Because feeling understood is easier than becoming dangerous. And most men choose easy. This is not a video for most men. Method 1. The architecture of silence. The first weapon Machiavelli would place in your hand is the one most men are terrified to hold. Silence. Not the silence of a man who cannot think of what to say. The silence of a man who has already decided that what they said does not deserve a response. When someone disrespects you, the instinct is to defend, to explain, to justify. You reach for words the way a drowning man reaches for driftwood. And in that moment, you hand every ounce of your power to the man who insulted you. Because explanation is submission dressed in intelligence. Read that again. Explanation is submission dressed in intelligence. When you respond to disrespect with words, you validate it. You tell the other man that his opinion of you matters enough to move your tongue. You confirm that the blade landed, that the wound opened, that he found the crack he was looking for. But when you meet disrespect with silence, cold, flat, unreadable silence, something shifts in the room that no sentence could create. The other man begins to doubt himself. He replays his own words in his head and hears how small they sounded. He waits for the reaction he prepared for, and your refusal to give it becomes the loudest sound in his mind. Silence is not the absence of response. Silence is a response. Machiavelli understood this as a structural principle, not a personality trait. In The Prince, he described two types of rulers. The ruler who spoke constantly, who explained his decisions, who justified his actions, who made himself transparent to his court. And the ruler who spoke rarely, whose silence was not ignorance but architecture. The first ruler was respected by no one. His words were spent like cheap coins, abundant, weightless, and quickly forgotten. His court learned to ignore what he said because he said too much. The second ruler was feared, not because he was cruel, not because he was loud, because his silence could mean anything. It could mean patience. It could mean contempt. It could mean that he had already decided something the court would discover too late. The man who speaks least controls the most, because the man who speaks least is never fully decoded. Think about the men you know whose silence makes you uncomfortable. The ones who do not fill the gap. The ones who let a question hang in the air until you hear how foolish it sounded. The ones whose quiet is not passive but aggressive. A pressure that builds until you start talking just to relieve it. That pressure is the architecture. That discomfort is the design. Most men do the opposite. They talk when they are nervous. They explain when they are cornered. They justify when they are accused. Every word they spill is a brick removed from their own wall. So train yourself. When the insult lands, do not inhale sharply. Breathe slowly, as if they said nothing worth the oxygen. Do not lock eyes in anger. Hold the gaze with the flat stillness of a man watching weather pass. Do not tighten your hands. Let them rest open, untouched by their words. Practice in small moments first. The passive remark at work, the one delivered with a smile, so you cannot object without seeming petty. The backhanded compliment from a relative, you're doing well for your situation. The dismissal from a man who believes he has already outpaced you. Do not answer. Do not correct. Do not defend. Look, register, move on, as if they said nothing at all. Over time, this silence becomes your signature. Men will begin to measure their words around you. They will feel the weight of your quiet before they ever hear your voice. But silence alone will not save you, because silence controls your mouth, and there is something deeper that must be controlled. Method 2. The murder of reaction. This weapon lives beneath your skin. It controls your face, your eyes, your breath, your pulse. Disrespect is a hunt, and your reaction is the blood in the water. The moment they see you flinch, even for a heartbeat, they know they have reached you. They know where the wound is. They know they can return to it whenever they please. Most men think composure is about what they say. It is not. Composure is about what their body betrays when they say nothing. Consider the specifics. The colleague who made the joke about your work, the one that got a laugh from the room. You smiled. You did not speak, but your smile was a half second too slow. It did not reach your eyes. Your laugh was a note too high. Your shoulders squared toward him before you caught yourself and pulled back. He saw it. He did not mention it. He did not need to. He filed it. And now he knows that joke landed. That wound is open. That button works. Every micro-expression is a crack the other man climbs through. Machiavelli wrote that the prince who could not control his own face could not control his state. Because a face that reveals is a face that gives away strategy. And a man who gives away his strategy to his enemies has already lost the war before the first battle is fought. When a man insults you and your face does not move, something unnatural happens in his mind. He expected impact. He prepared for it. He rehearsed the insult. He timed the delivery. He watched for the flinch. And when the flinch does not come, he is left holding a weapon that no longer works. The preparation was wasted. The rehearsal was for nothing. He is standing in front of a wall so smooth he cannot find a single crack to climb. So train yourself like a soldier. When the insult lands, do not inhale sharply. Breathe slowly, deeply, as if they said nothing worth oxygen. Do not lock eyes in anger. Hold the gaze with the flat stillness of a man watching weather pass. Do not tighten your hands. Let them rest open. This is not suppression. Suppression is reaction hidden poorly, and every man who has tried to hide his anger behind a smile knows that the body betrays the mask every time. This is something deeper. The rewiring of how you receive the world. You begin to see disrespect not as an attack, but as information. Information about who they are. Information about what they fear. Information about how little control they actually have over themselves. And information never wounds a man. Only meaning does. So strip the meaning from their words before they ever reach you. Decide in advance that nothing said by a smaller man will be permitted to move you. That decision must be made in quiet moments, long before the insult arrives. Because in the heat of the moment, there is no time to choose. You fight the way you trained. So train your stillness. Train your breath. Train your face. A man who cannot be provoked cannot be ruled. A man who cannot be read cannot be manipulated. But silence controls your mouth. Stillness controls your face. And there is something deeper that must be controlled. Method 3. The weapon of withdrawal. The power of absence. This is the weapon most men refuse to use, because it demands something they do not have. The courage to disappear. Understand this law, and burn it into the walls of your mind. Attention is oxygen, and the men who disrespect you are breathing yours. Every message you send, every room you walk into, every laugh you offer, every minute of your time, every glance of your eyes, you are feeding them. You are keeping them alive in your life. And then you wonder why they do not respect you. They do not respect you because you are always there. You have made yourself common. You have made yourself expected. You have made yourself a fixture in their world. And no man has ever respected a fixture. Machiavelli knew that rulers who were always visible were always vulnerable, because familiarity is the slow poison of authority. Presence, when overused, becomes contempt. Absence, when used correctly, becomes myth. He made a distinction that the modern world has forgotten, between the prince who is seen and the prince who is felt. The prince who is seen becomes familiar. Familiarity breeds contempt. The prince who is felt, through his actions, his decisions, his silence, never becomes familiar. He becomes legendary. And legend is immune to disrespect. Think about the men who command your respect without trying. The ones who are never everywhere. The ones whose absence you feel more than another man's presence. The ones who do not chase, do not explain, do not justify, and whose silence makes you wonder what they know that you do not. That is not an accident. That is architecture. Most men do the opposite. They are always available, always reachable, always willing to show up, to speak, to explain, to perform. And the more available they make themselves, the less valuable they become. Because value is not intrinsic. Value is a function of scarcity. And a man who is always present is a man who has priced himself at nothing. So withdraw, not with announcements, not with dramatic goodbyes, not with long messages explaining why you are stepping back. Simply thin yourself out of their life, like smoke leaving a room. Answer slower, appear less, laugh shorter, stop filling the silences they create. Stop being the one who always reaches first. Stop being the one who always shows up. Let them feel the shape of the space you used to occupy. Let them reach for you and find air. Let them wonder where you went, what you are doing, who you are becoming without them. Because the mind is a strange machine. It does not miss what is given freely. It only misses what is taken away. The moment you withdraw, you become interesting again. The moment you become scarce, you become valuable again. The moment they cannot predict your presence, they begin to study it. And study is the beginning of respect. Do not confuse this with manipulation. This is not about making them chase you. This is about reclaiming the hours, the energy, the attention you are bleeding into men who never deserved a single drop of it. Pour that energy back into yourself, into your body, your mind, your craft, your silence. Let them imagine what you are building in the dark. Let their imagination do the work your words never could. But withdrawal alone is defensive. It protects you. It does not make you dangerous. Method 4. The study of predators. Turning disrespect into intelligence. Most men, when disrespected, feel. The untouchable man, when disrespected, studies. Understand this carefully. Every man who disrespects you is handing you a map of himself, and most men are too wounded to read it. They see the attack. They do not see the attacker. They feel the sting of the words and miss the confession hidden inside them. Because disrespect is always a confession. It tells you what the other man fears, what he envies, what he resents, what he cannot control within himself. The colleague who mocked your ambition, the one who said, "Good luck with that," with a half smile, he is not indifferent to your ambition. He is threatened by it. Because if you succeed, his decision to stop trying looks worse. Your effort indicts his surrender. So he must make your ambition seem foolish before it has a chance to prove him wrong. The relative who dismisses your plans, the one who has told the same story about his own potential for 20 years, he is not protecting you from failure. He is protecting himself from the mirror you hold up. Every step you take forward is a reminder of the steps he did not take. The friend who makes you the punchline, the one who never tells a story where he is the smaller character, he is not being funny. He is positioning. He is using humor to establish hierarchy without having to earn it. Every insult is a window into his interior, and the strategist who learns to read those windows will never be caught off guard again. Machiavelli did not teach rulers to fight their enemies. He taught them to understand their enemies so completely that the fight became unnecessary. In the discourses, he made a distinction that separates the strategist from the reactive man. The reactive man confronts the insult. The strategist studies the man who delivered it, his patterns, his fears, his alliances, his breaking points, and waits. Not because he is patient by nature, because he understands that a man understood is a man already defeated. So when a man disrespects you, do not confront him. Watch him. Watch his eyes when he says your name. Watch who he performs for. Watch what he brags about, because that is what he feels small about. Watch what he mocks, because that is what he secretly fears. Watch his friendships, his hierarchies, his insecurities dressed as jokes. Gather everything. Store everything. Say nothing. Let him believe you are too slow, too soft, too distracted to notice. That belief is a gift, because a man who is underestimated is a man who is free to move. While he is performing, you are calculating. While he is shouting, you are mapping. While he is spending his energy on you, you are spending nothing on him. This is the cold patience of power. This is the stillness of a predator who has no need to pounce, because it already knows where the prey will run. And here is the final truth of this method. The moment you understand a man completely, he loses every weapon he thought he had over you. You know his triggers before he pulls them. You know his insults before they land. You know his strategies before he speaks. Disrespect becomes noise, predictable, repetitive, almost boring. So from this day forward, stop reacting to the insult. Start reading the man who delivered it. But reading him is not enough, because even if you understand him perfectly, he is still in your life. Method 5. The lion and the fox. Machiavelli made a distinction that most men miss. He wrote that a prince must know how to use both the nature of the beast and the nature of the man. And of all beasts, he said, the prince must know the lion and the fox. The lion is force. The fox is cunning. Most men, when disrespected, choose one and abandon the other. They meet disrespect with force, confrontation, anger, a raised voice, a tightened fist. Or they meet it with cunning, silence, strategy, withdrawal. Both are incomplete, and the man who uses only one is the man who is eventually beaten by someone who uses both. The lion without the fox is a man who is strong but predictable. He confronts every slight. He answers every insult. He's always ready for war. And because he's always ready, his enemies learn to bait him into battles that cost him more than they cost them. He is the man who wins every argument and loses every relationship. He is right. He is loud. He is alone. The fox without the lion is a man who is clever but harmless. He strategizes. He plans. He withdraws. But he never enforces. He never makes the consequence real. He becomes the man who is respected in theory but walked over in practice, because everyone knows his cunning will never bite. He is the man who sees every play before it happens and never makes a move. He is smart. He is silent. He is invisible. Machiavelli understood that the prince who relied solely on the lion was destroyed by traps, and the prince who relied solely on the fox was destroyed by force. Only the man who could be both, who could be silent when silence served and terrible when terror was required, could not be moved. Think about what this means when someone disrespects you. The man who made the joke at your expense, the one that got the laugh. The fox in you wants to withdraw, to study, to plan. That is correct, but incomplete, because if withdrawal is your only response, the man learns that his jokes carry no cost. He will make them again, and each time, your silence will look less like strategy and more like fear. The lion in you wants to confront, to demand respect, to make a scene. That is correct, but incomplete, because confrontation without strategy is just theater. You will feel powerful for 30 seconds and pay for it for months. The Machiavellian response is both. The fox studies the moment, who is watching what the power dynamics are, what the man's weakness is, what the consequence should be. The lion enforces it, not with a shout, not with a fist, but with a consequence that is felt. A look that says the joke was noted. A silence at the next meeting that says the dynamic has shifted. A withdrawal of access that says the relationship has been repriced. Not announced, not explained, just enforced. The lion makes the consequence real. The fox makes it untraceable. This is the balance most men never find. They are either all force or all strategy, all reaction or all withdrawal, all noise or all silence. Machiavelli said the prince who cannot be both does not deserve to rule, because the world is not kind enough to be managed by a single method. So learn to be both, the silence that studies and the will that enforces, the patience of the fox and the weight of the lion. But even this balance has a limit, because enforcement, strategy, silence, withdrawal, all of these are responses to disrespect that has already happened. Method 6. The surgical cut. Machiavelli reserved this for the moment when all other methods had served their purpose. Some men will not change, no matter how silent you become. No matter how still your face, no matter how scarce your presence, no matter how high you rise, they will keep reaching, keep pulling, keep poisoning the air around you with quiet disrespect disguised as familiarity. The colleague who keeps making the jokes, the relative who keeps asking the questions, the friend who keeps positioning himself above you in every story. For these men, there's only one answer. Remove them without warning. No speeches, no final confrontations, no long messages explaining your reasons, no dramatic announcements of your departure. You simply disappear from their life the way a blade disappears into its sheath. Silently, completely, without apology. Most men cannot do this, because most men crave the closure of being understood one last time. They want the other person to know why. They want to deliver the final word. They want to be remembered correctly. But understand this. Every explanation you offer is a rope they will use to pull you back. Every goodbye is a door left open. Every justification is a negotiation. and you do not negotiate with men who have already shown you who they are. Machiavelli taught a principle that the modern world finds uncomfortable. He wrote that a prince who wishes to maintain his state must learn not to be good, not in all circumstances, not at all times, not when mercy becomes the weapon that destroys him. He was not teaching cruelty. He was teaching that mercy extended to the wrong man is not mercy, is self-destruction dressed in virtue. The man who cannot cut is the man who is eventually consumed by what he refuses to remove. Think about the man you keep in your life because removing him would be uncomfortable. The one whose calls you avoid but still answer. The one whose presence drains you but whose absence would require an explanation you do not want to give. That discomfort, the discomfort of cutting, is the price of a life you want. And it is paid once. The discomfort of keeping him is paid every day, in smaller and smaller amounts, until you cannot remember what it felt like to be whole. The surgical cut leaves no rope, no door, no opening, no trace. One day you were there, the next day you were not, and they are left standing in a silence they will spend years trying to decode. So cut cleanly, cut quietly, cut once. Do not revisit it. Do not explain it. Do not soften it. Let your absence be the final sentence they ever hear from you. But there is a seventh method, one that most men never consider because it requires them to abandon a comfort they have held their entire lives. Method 7. The law of necessity. Machiavelli wrote about a concept that the modern world has almost completely abandoned. He called it necessita instead of necessity. He did not mean necessity as a burden. He meant it as the only legitimate teacher, the only force capable of producing the kind of man who cannot be moved. Here is what he understood. Comfort makes men weak, not because comfort is evil, but because comfort removes the one thing that forges strength. Necessity. The man who has never been forced to survive will never learn to fight. The man who has never been abandoned will never learn to stand. The man who has never been disrespected without recourse will never learn the methods that make disrespect impossible. Most men, when disrespected, seek comfort. They seek validation. They seek someone to tell them they were wronged, that the other person was cruel, that they did not deserve it. They seek a world in which disrespect does not happen. A world in which everyone is kind. A world in which the rules are fair and the good are rewarded, and the cruel are punished. Machiavelli looked at the world and said, that world does not exist. It has never existed. And the man who builds his life around the expectation that it should, that man is building on sand. The man who accepts necessity becomes the man who uses it. He does not seek comfort after disrespect. He seeks the lesson. He seeks the edge. He lets the wound teach him what no mentor could, that the world does not care about his feelings, that respect is not a birthright but a territory that must be taken and held, that every man who disrespected him was not an obstacle but a training ground. This is the distinction the competitor misses. The competitor tells you to study the man who disrespected you, but only as a tactic, a way to gain advantage, a chess move. Machiavelli meant something deeper. The disrespect itself is the necessity. The pain of it is the forge. The humiliation is the fire that burns away the weaker version of you and leaves only the version that cannot be touched. Most men run from that fire. They retreat into comfort. They surround themselves with people who tell them they are fine as they are. And they stay exactly as they are, unchanged, untested, unshaped, until the next disrespect finds them and finds them just as unprepared. The untouchable man does not run from disrespect. He does not seek it either. He simply refuses to let it pass through him without extracting its full price. Every slight becomes data. Every insult becomes strategy. Every dismissal becomes fuel for a fire that the other man will never see until it is too late. This is what Machiavelli meant when he wrote that the prince who builds on the people, on comfort, on approval, on being liked, builds on sand. But the prince who builds on necessity, on the hard truth that the world is not kind and never will be, builds on stone. So stop seeking comfort. Stop seeking validation. Stop seeking a world that does not exist. Accept that men will disrespect you. Accept that the world is not fair. Accept that no one is coming to correct the injustice done to you, and that the waiting itself is another form of weakness. Then build. Build on the necessity. Build on the stone. Build until the men who disrespected you cannot reach the floor you are standing on. Necessity is not a punishment. It is the only architect qualified to build the man you need to become. But there is one final method, the one that makes all the others unnecessary. Method 8. The man who does not need. Here is the uncomfortable truth most men never hear. Every method you have learned tonight, silence, stillness, withdrawal, study, the lion and the fox, the surgical cut, the law of necessity, all of them share one foundation. You needed something from a man who disrespected you. You needed his approval, his respect, his acknowledgement, his fear, his silence, something. And because you needed something, he had power over you. Disrespect is only possible when the target needs something from the attacker. Read that again. Disrespect is only possible when the target needs something from the attacker. The colleague who spoke over you, you needed his validation in that meeting. The relative who dismissed your ambitions, you needed his approval to feel legitimate. The friend who made the joke, you needed his acceptance to feel included. Remove the need, and the disrespect becomes impossible. Not forbidden, not punished, structurally impossible, like trying to insult a man who owns nothing you want. Machiavelli understood that the most powerful prince was not the one with the largest army. It was the one who needed nothing from his rivals. The one who could walk away from every negotiation, every alliance, every conflict, and lose nothing. A man who needs nothing is a man who cannot be controlled. A man who cannot be controlled is a man who cannot be disrespected, because disrespect requires leverage, and leverage requires need. Most men are full of needs. They need to be liked. They need to be understood. They need to be right. They need to be seen. They need to be invited. They need to be chosen. Every need is a handle on their back, and every man who wants to lift them knows exactly where to grip. The untouchable man is not the one who has eliminated every need. He is the one who has eliminated every need that another man is allowed to hold. He still needs. He still wants. He still desires. But he has drawn a line around those needs and placed them beyond the reach of men who would use them against him. He does not need the approval of a man he does not respect. He does not need the acknowledgement of a man he does not admire. He does not need the inclusion of a room he would not have chosen for himself. And when a man disrespects him, the disrespect lands on empty ground. There is nothing to wound. There is nothing to reach. There is nothing to take. Because the untouchable man has already decided that the man across from him has nothing he wants. This is the final method, and it is the only one that is permanent. Silence can be broken. Stillness can crack. Withdrawal can be reversed. Study can be incomplete. The lion can tire. The fox can be outmaneuvered. The surgical cut can be regretted. Necessity can be escaped. But the elimination of need, that is permanent. That is the fortress. That is the foundation no insult can reach. So ask yourself honestly, not what methods you need to learn, not what techniques you need to practice. Ask yourself what you still need from the men who disrespect you. Their approval? You do not respect them. Why do you need their approval? Their acknowledgement? They have shown you who they are. Why do you need them to see you? Their inclusion? You would not choose their table if you were honest with yourself. Why do you need to be seated at it? Strip every need away, one by one, until the only things you need are the things no man can give you or take from you. Your discipline, your composure, your silence, your altitude, your word. The man who needs nothing from the men who disrespected him is the man those men will spend the rest of their lives trying to understand, and he will never explain it to them, because he does not need them to understand. Machiavelli wrote The Prince not to comfort men, but to arm them. He did not write it for the man who wants to feel better about his situation. He wrote it for the man who is ready to see the situation clearly and act. You now have 8 methods: the architecture of silence, the murder of reaction, the weapon of withdrawal, the study of predators, the lion and the fox, the surgical cut, the law of necessity, and the man who does not need. Each one is a tool. None of them are comfort. Most men who watch this will forget everything by morning. They will feel the fire tonight and let it die by sunrise. That is what most men do. That is why most men are where most men are. The world does not respect the loud. The world respects the unreachable. Go become unreachable.